Hello! Today, let's talk about the affirmatives, the negatives, and questions. Let's start first with the affirmatives. In other words, it is also called the positive sentence. Affirmatives are used to express validity or truth of an action or a statement. The structure for affirmative is the subject, the auxiliary verb, the main verb, and the object. So, for example, the sun is shining brightly. Wherein, in this sentence, sun is our subject, is our auxiliary verb, shining is our main verb, where brightly is our object. So, it is also possible for a sentence not to have an auxiliary verb. For second example, we have, I went to a concert yesterday. Notice that in this sentence, we do not have an auxiliary verb. So, I is your subject, went is your main verb, and concert is your object. So, this time, let's move on to negatives. So, negatives are used to express untrue or false statements. It is also used to describe an action that is not happening. The structure for a negative sentence is the subject, the auxiliary verb, the negative word, the main verb, and the object. Let's have some example. I did not like the movie. I is the subject, did is the auxiliary verb, not is our negative word, like being the main verb, and movie as the object. So another pattern for a negative sentence is the subject, the auxiliary verb, and the negative word. For example, she is not my sister, wherein she is the subject, is the auxiliary verb, and not is the negative word. Lastly, let's talk about questions. And as we all know, questions are used to ask questions, right? There are three basic structures when asking a question. So let's have that. The first one, so we start with the auxiliary verb plus the subject and the verb. So for example, did you go anywhere last night? So in this question, did being our auxiliary verb, you as the subject, and go as the verb. So another structure in asking question is the main verb plus the subject. So for example, are you hungry? In this question, are is the main verb or the be, and you is the subject. So the last pattern for a question is a WH word or a WH question plus the auxiliary verb, the subject plus the main verb. So for example, where are you going? Wherein where is our WH word, are is our auxiliary verb, you being the subject, and going being the main verb. Notice the difference in structure between an affirmative and a question. So we say that in affirmative, a subject goes before the auxiliary verb, wherein in questions, an auxiliary verb goes before the subject. So see, it's easy. I'll see you next time.